The higher term time frame picture here for Bitcoin is more or less unchanged over the past couple of videos. However, in the short term time frames, there are some swings going on here, multi-$1,000 swings, and I suspect that is going to be the focus of today's video as things do offer up, some opportunities here. And based off the higher term time frame picture, I do want to be showing some more interesting stuff, bringing back something from the past, which I don't know why we let it go in the past, but it was pretty damn fun to do. And we're going to be bringing out some good old options trading, or at least some options building boards. As I'm not going to be showing my own trades, obviously not, but you can get an idea of kind of how I'd be looking at these things and what I'd be doing in these situations. And other than that, I want to once again let you know that we actually have our Black Friday sale going on for 20% off of literally anything in the store, in the link in the description below for Teachable. All you need is that code on the screen right there, blacked in all capitals, and then the number 20, blacked 20, that is blacked in all capitals, 20. Anyways, as always, we're going to start this one off with some daily price action statistics. Tuesday is actually slightly in favor of negative closures since this bull market began in 2023. However, we are most interested in, as always, the average gain and the average loss for winning and losing Tuesdays. And as you can already see, Bitcoin has actually tested the bottom side of that average return for a losing Tuesday, which was 86,750. Bitcoin now getting a small little bounce from that number. So again, if you are looking for that short-term edge, both the historical price action indicator and also the price action pivots indicator, really good for very short-term intra-bar scalps. And in this case, a few $100 above that number. In fact, on the first test, there was a greater bounce, obviously. So this is technically the second pass, to be fair. On the other side, if Bitcoin does trade up to about just over $90,000 today, I would be looking for a pullback on the first pass. Do I think that's going to happen today? I guess it's possible. We'll go over that a little bit later, but I am a little more biased towards Bitcoin kind of stalling out here and consolidating a lower range. Not really doing anything super interesting on the bigger picture, but on the smaller picture, yeah, these swings are multi-$1,000. But yeah, I just want to again point out yesterday we saw both sides of that of the average range hit. So if you did miss the one on the bottom, then you hopefully got the one on the top. So again, if you're following this indicator, you're looking for, or if you're looking to scalp off of this indicator, it's very short-term scalps, in and out relatively quickly, intra-bar moves. You're not holding these for the fucking home run. You're holding it for a very short amount of time, typically a few $100, and yes, sometimes there are significantly better plays. We saw actually multi-$1,000 plays off of both ends for yesterday, but that is not the going rate typically. So I just want to say, if you are using this, it's a very valid edge. That's why I love it. That's why I use it. But I would also at the same time humbly suggest don't get too greedy with it. Anyways, other than that, let's get into some short-term time frame analysis. Or should we actually go over the higher term time frames first? No, let's go over the short term first, because the higher term time frame is going to play into the options look here. So lower term time frames, or actually, sorry, lower term time frames over here. Looking at the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, we do start to see some hidden bearish divergence developing over here. It's not looking super strong to me, but if it does play out, I would be looking for a move, perhaps all the way back down to, what is this, about maybe even 84 to 83,000 bucks, with stops along the way. Obviously, the price action pivot here at 85,125 on CME, probably gonna be a short-term bouncy bounce region, but ultimately these are all small ball moves right here. So again, I want to definitely differentiate the short-term time frame analysis from the higher term time frame analysis. This is where I think a lot of the time I get misheard, or maybe I miscommunicate, maybe I don't express myself properly. But in many of these cases, when I see some comments, for sure, I'm like, that was not really intended to be like a today type thing. In this case right here, looking at the 4-hour time frame, you do have a very obvious high. The high is yesterday's high, Monday, of 89,330 on CME. As long as Bitcoin's below there, does Bitcoin swing back down after playing out more or less a 10% or a little bit more than a 10% move to the upside from 80,000 bucks? Probably yes. Again, these are just ebbs and flows within the market. I'm not calling a massive doom move. I'm not calling a massive moon move either. It's time to get a little bit more boring on these charts, to be honest with you. I mean, we just had basically 5 straight weeks of fucking downside. So ultimately, looking for a little bit of consolidation on this move, I do think is appropriate. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't expect any major closures below the current low from last Friday, and I don't really expect any sort of like major, massive, girthy green dildos, back above 100,000 bucks in the short term here. Can that happen more later on? Sure. But as we went over in yesterday's video, as long as you're below 107, like, it is a downtrend, and the trend can be your friend if you just let it be. But yeah, in this case right here, We should also go look at stochastic momentum. Stochastic momentum on the 4-hour time frame for CME, get into some pretty high levels that we haven't seen in quite some time. And also, I do want to acknowledge that there is a nice little trend line regression here, and that will actually start to turn down below 87,350. CME is trading at 87,630 right now. So, whether it's on this current period or the next period, I don't know, but very likely does start to turn down soon and play out that regression. So this is kind of a good area to be looking at for a bit of a stopping point. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You'll know that I'm wrong because, oh shit, just hit this stupid thing. You'll know that I'm wrong because Bitcoin will have closed above Monday's high. If you see that, then I guess the next logical target is going to be about $91,500, maybe even a little bit higher than that, towards 93. So somewhere in that pocket there, is where I'd be looking for, I suppose. But is Bitcoin more likely to play at a bit of a short-term pullback? Perhaps yes. But again, the trend is your friend. The trend is your friend. Just let it be your friend. It wants to be your friend. It can be your friend. It can be your very best friend. All you need to do is just open wide and let it come in. Anyways, let's get back on the topic of the volatility compression play over here. This is for CME as well. Spot price action already fired this one off the other day. This one actually also fired off quite literally on the low. So maybe we should be following CME and not spot price action. That was my own rule, and I broke my own rule. Thus, a massive girthy red dildo was shoved in front of my face. Thought we were going to see a major low at 88. Nope, comes down a little bit more. Such is life. Such is the game. Anyways, in this case here, I do feel very, very confident Bitcoin will not be closing below Friday's low anytime soon. Could be getting wicks below there for sure, but now we really do have that volatility mean reversion play here where we're seeing price trade very far away from the median. It got all the way down on CME to the 95% of historical returns range lows. That is significant. Again, it just doesn't happen often. Just doesn't happen often, 95% of the time, it's not getting down there. Crazy idea. Actually, it's more like 2.5% of the time because we got to look at both sides here. But anyways, my point is very, 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 very uncommon. Yes, uncommon moves do happen, but they just don't happen commonly, as the name would imply. Anyways, because we are seeing volatility contract right here and actually has been since Friday, well, that does put into motion the likely move and reconnect with the median on the HPDR here. By the way, the HPDR is also a part of the character indicator suite package, which is also including this baby over here too. So you can kind of get two at once, and they come with 7-day free trials. So, you can try it out for yourself and get a discount on top of that if you so desire. Anyways, yes, so the median right now is actually a little bit higher than spot, and in fact, a lot higher than spot. That's about $95,500. Again, that's probably not a today move. It's gonna work its way down, and I expect, maybe later this week, like Friday or perhaps early next week, you do get that reconnect, and that's gonna be a minimum target. But generally, I'd be looking for Bitcoin to kind of trade sideways on the daily time frame, not really making significantly new lows below Friday's low. Before reconnecting with at least the median, and that's probably going to come down to $92,000, I would imagine, probably within the next few days, maybe at latest early next week. But again, as long as price hasn't tested there, I'd generally be looking at that as like a North Star. Bitcoin's very likely to trade up around there, and well, just let it go. Anyways, yes, where should we go from there? Let me get back to my notes over here. As far as the higher term timeframes go, again, I don't want to get super deep into this. However, just kind of laying out some ranges here for likely the next, I would say, 2 to 4 weeks. Anywhere between the green 55 on the 2-week time frame and the red 5 EMA over here on the 2-week time frame is likely to be the range. I do expect Bitcoin will reconnect with both of those major moving averages within the next, let's say, 4-week period. Is that going to be sooner or later within that 4-week period? I don't fucking know. Again, for the people who hear that statement and think that that's like a today thing, it's not. Relax, listen to fucking words, for the love of God. Or just, I don't know, be lobotomized. That's also you are also free to do that as well. It's your prerogative after all. We're all free to be lobotomized. I'm lobotomized in many ways. I tried fixing my sink the other day. Very lobotomized. Couldn't figure it out. Also tried figuring out my new fucking, thermostat or whatever. God damn, man. What the hell? Those things, they're very simple, but very complicated, very fucking annoying as well. Anyways, yeah, so that's there. Ultimately, I do expect both sides of this to be tested. And so I wanted to show and give a quick insight into the way that I kind of set this up with options. So options, if you didn't know, are, well, They are derivative products. And honestly, if I'm trying to explain this to you, we're probably too far back. Look, if you need a primer on options, go to my YouTube playlist. There is a free playlist. It'll literally teach you all of the basics that probably, 99% of people would ever want to know about options. It'll get you in a good sort of foundational knowledge, and it's free. Like, all you need to do is just spend the fucking time to just watch it. You can also get the Crown Trading Bible as well, and it'll go into much more detail. But again, that's not really going to be appropriate for most people. Most people don't even need fucking options. And for the people that do, they probably just want to dip their toesy woesies into the water. And that's fine. I mean, that's honestly what's right for most people. But yeah. So basically what I'm saying is no significant closures below about $80,000, and probably not going to see anything super significant above, $100,000 in the next, 2, maybe 4 week spread. To the upside, it's a little bit less so. But let's go over here to the Trading View options position builder. And what I'd do in this situation is, honestly, I would sell the 80-70 put spread. That sounds like that makes a lot of sense to me. In fact, in this case, I would actually do a 2 to 1 setup right here. Or am I thinking about that right? Yes, 2 to 1, 15 to 10. Oh my God, my brain is breaking. Am I actually redacting myself? I might actually be redacting myself. This is very bad. But yes, basically what I'd say is I'd short the $80,000 put strike. Again, that's basically Friday's low, a little bit below there, expiring December 26th. So basically the end of December. That's literally December 26th, not 2026. And then I would long for a little bit of protection. If I'm wrong, the 70,000 put strike 10 times. Those are pretty cheap right now. If price really started to deviate from $80,000, what I'd do in that situation is actually just sell stock against that, or sell Bitcoins against that, and keep those long puts as well, just because it's easier to sell typically in those instances. In fact, generally, I'd actually want to do naked option plus selling stock or selling coins in this case. But of course, that eats up a lot of trading equity, and when you have limited equity, or even just in general, it's better to save if given the option. But if you do have a lot of trading equity, then actually I do prefer personally selling stock against that. Just easier to do, but yeah, again, most people are not going to be in a position to do that, or you just have to lower the size on these a lot to free up some of that. Options typically a lot less equity. Anyways, in this case, you can see from the position builder. Oh, actually, you can't see it. Hold on, let me adjust this screen a little bit. Now you can see it. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, so you can see maximum profit from this strategy, assuming that Bitcoin basically is just not below $80,000 by end of the 26th of December of this year, that we would profit 29,300. Our maximum loss is infinity after all, but again, we would be taking, some liberties before that. We'd be selling some stock against it, or buying more puts. That's also an option as well. Option, as the name does imply, break even's around $78,000. So basically, until you get to $70,000, you have time to react. And I would say closing below $80,000, I would sell that fucking stock, lock in a very small gain, and potentially reposition. I mean, there's probably another thing to do if that were to happen. But yeah, other than that, pretty simple position right here. This is just a straight up selling the put spread. Win rate on this, I don't know necessarily how TradingView is calculating this, but 77 spot, 88%. I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. You do have to be careful with these things, because if you do not manage risk on these, you will get fucked. You will get fucked, as we like to say. Anyways, so yeah, that's there for you as well. If you are the options type of person, I personally prefer to do things in options. And honestly, at this point in my sort of trading career, I'm mostly focused on long-term investing. And then yes, if I want to play moves, I play the swings with options. And sometimes, yes, I will indeed do, one of the more long-term strategies, like the 5-day 5 EMA strategy that we set up with the Quant Prime service. Again, Quant Prime service is also on sale for 20% off. But I should acknowledge that is definitely for more advanced people. Let's go check out the quantum wave bands for today, see what they're doing, and then we'll check in on the LTI as well. I mean, it's already going to give you a buy, but I should probably put out an actual video announcing the LTI. Right here, let's see what the quantum wave bands have done. I think they were already in a long from yesterday. Yeah, they closed that long, so not bad. Opened up at where? Opened up at 85,800, closed at 88,350. Not bad. Again, it's all about the long-term results. It looks like we got another higher low on this one, and working its way upwards and onwards yet again. I mean, it's just a thing of fucking beauty when you see something like this, to be honest with you. Anyways, it actually did open up another long. It opened it up, maybe not at my favorite price point personally, but 87,400. Does Bitcoin get maybe one more try at the $89,000 number and then come down for, hopefully a higher low, maybe something like this, boom, and then come down like this? That I mean, that's what I'd hope would happen with this position right here. But if it takes a loss, it takes a loss. Ultimately, I do think that this $80,000 low over here will get retested again sometime within the next 2 to 4 weeks. Hopefully sooner rather than later, because the sooner that gets retested, the more relevant upside becomes potentially, like I said, even all the way up to that red 5 EMA here, which is hanging around the upper 90s. Now that's naturally going to come down on the next period, so it's not always going to be up there, obviously, but it does give us a big range. It does give us a big range, almost $20,000, or actually, sorry, more like $14,000 from 83 all the way to 97 or so. So something like that, is kind of what I'm looking at. Yes, you might get another wick below last Friday's low. It's possible, sure, but I don't think you're going to be closing below there anytime soon. And if you do, then, well, back to the fucking drawing board, I guess. Other than that, I think that's a good place to maybe leaving off on this particular video. I think we've done enough there. Do we want to show the LTI? I mean, I guess we could show the LTI macro. Yeah, so for the LTI, if you're not familiar with it, and I will upload like a kind of explainer video on this one, like another, nice little shill promo video. But basically, you can program this thing to acknowledge specific conditions that you would like for long-term investments. Typically, is how we're looking at this. And you can set it up however you want. You can use it on any asset that is on TradingView as well. And on this particular setup right here, I've attuned it to Bitcoin macro lows. You can see that it's actually bought all of the macro lows throughout Bitcoin's history, going back to 2011 right here. Even got the Rona dump over here pretty well. So ultimately, whenever this thing fires off, I will be screaming at the top of my lungs, hey, whatever like assuming that we are in a bear market, whatever downside we had is done, and it's time to be, time to put in some big buys, at least for me. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. But yeah, as of right now, obviously not going to be firing off a signal right here. This is only 35% downside move. Only 35% downside move. Yes, big, obviously, but Bitcoin's seen much worse in the past. Anyways, I actually include my settings in the Teachable tutorial videos with this indicator, and there's a link in the description below for Teachable. But like I said, I want to kind of, start to strategize my own content to be similar, more similar to what I'm actually doing in my personal life now, which is becoming more of a long-term investor alongside, continuing to do options. Because I don't know, I'm just fucking addicted to options, honestly. I don't know what it is. But I can't get away from it. Anyways, as far as my dip buyer settings for the LTI, which is really just designed to buy any sort of major pullback, that actually has fired off some buy signals over here as well. So yeah, I actually have bought some for the long-term backs. Again, this is 10 years down the road. I'm looking to hold this. If you're doing this on leverage, if you're looking for profits tomorrow, you're fucked, or you're not fucked, but this is not going to work for you. This will not work for you. Not work. Check out the quant prime, check on the quantum wave bounds. That you can tune to more lower term timeframes. But yeah, that's where I'm going to leave things for today. As always, I wish everyone the best. Take care. Much love. We'll check in on those options positions as time goes onwards and forwards. And until next time, goodbye. No, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to do a live stream tomorrow, actually. Very, very excited for that. Take care. Much love, and see you hopefully Wednesday.